Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to our Wednesday night edition of the Walking This Way Impact Boys podcast. We're very excited to be with y'all one more time here on this great Wednesday. We know this is already November the 6th, 2024, and we are in the middle of the week. And we just thank everybody for tuning in, hanging out with us tonight. Those who's tuning in and also be watching this soon. We got some people popping in as well. Very excited, very honest, and very privileged to be with y'all one more time. Of course, I got the Kingdom Chick herself, Miss Nancy C. out of Miami, Florida. How are you doing this evening?
Doing great. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. It's always good to see you. I appreciate you know that. And I got to give your flowers to you because you've been doing this thing for a very, very, very long time. And
Amen.
also, we got Damon Richie, aka D Rock, in the building. I've been knowing this young man for a very, very long time. People don't understand, even though me and Nancy been doing this since '09 all the way to 2010. Actually, Damon Richie was the first one to turn me on to talk radio or blog talk radio. He invited me to be a co-host. So I gotta give him his cigars. I get the ladies they fly, but I gotta get the guys they cigars. So I gotta give him his
Hey.
cigars because he's the one that introduced me to talk radio before it actually became popular. He was
Mhm.
the first one to introduce me to it. So I gotta give him his cigars. I want everybody to know that
He
he was the
inspired
one
you.
who turned. Yeah, he inspired me, and it went from
Amen.
there. And then of course, Nancy came in the picture, and we took this thing to a whole nother level. But we're excited. We know that it's all about the kingdom, right? It's all about the kingdom. And like I said, this young man, Nancy, he's been doing it for a very, very long time, very consistent. From Mobile, Alabama, my hometown. Now he's in Tennessee. So no further ado, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna this awesome young man to go ahead and introduce himself. D Rock, the mic is yours. Take it away. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the artist here on the Walking This Way Impact Voice podcast.
Well, thank you so very much. I really, really appreciate you letting me come on the podcast today, and just so proud of what you're doing. That makes my heart sing. That hey, that your living is not in vain. So, if of course anybody does not know me, I am Damon Richie, aka DJ D Rock. I am the CEO of DR Global Media Group and Entertainment out of Chattanooga, Tennessee. I also have my own radio network that we just launched off in the past couple of weeks, and also the radio programmer for Chattanooga's Praise 101, Chattanooga's number one for gospel hits, and we are also the morning show host for the station too as well. I've been in the business for almost 27 years now, and counting. Been doing a lot of radio and programming throughout my years. I've also I actually hung out with Furman himself. Furman, we've met at a skate rink long time ago.
Yeah, yeah.
It was a blast having him there. And we had clicked on, and he got me onto, got signed and everything. We was on music and things like that, and things started to blossom up, and from there it was from radio, singing, and now I'm back doing what I'm doing now, which is in the CEO position, and now radio. And also doing managing and booking. So I, have my own thing here in Chattanooga. So yeah, we're around the clock, across the globe now.
Man, that's awesome. And like I said, I know you've been doing this for a very long time. It's something you're very passionate about, something you're very serious about. And just your Nick, I mean, I know you talk about how long you've been in the business, of course. But who introduced you to music? Who introduced you to the entertainment industry? That you've been doing it for a very quite long time.
Yeah. It all started back when I was younger, at the age of 9. Got introduced into the music industry. My godfather who passed, who was Elder James Simon. Elder James Simon was my mentor, and he really, really groomed me up into the music industry. And of course, I come from a music background too as well. My whole entire family sings, even my mom, my sisters, and my brother. We all musically inclined. But that was one of the things that God had called me in was music. I sing. I did some singing play a little drums, play some drums and things like that. But God said, no, 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 that's not it. So, going over into my middle school years, I was doing DJing. I was DJing at my middle school, and from there it blossomed. It went from the blossom into high school, and then from high school, I went over to interning in radio. So intern from there, and then I got my first job. Let's go back to the skating rink days. Let's go back to skating days. I started off doing skating rink days around at the age of 16. At the age of 16, I got my first shot in Mobile, and that was at the skate rink in Mobile. And when they noticed, the owner noticed what I was doing. The owner was like, "Man, this is something. This guy is like off the chain. I've never ever seen this energy before." But I kept coming and kept coming. And next thing you know, he wanted to hire me on the spot. And so from there, it just blossomed. From there, we had tons of kids come in. We had artists. And I'll never forget Furman. I called Furman on the phone one night, and I told Furman, I said, "Furman, man, you want to come up here for a little while?" And he said, "Yeah, let me check it out. Let me check it out." So from there, it was just like it got huge. The crowd got huge. I think my mom and him were talking, and my mom was like, "I don't know where Damon get all these people from, but it's like it was it was so." But that was the generator. You know what I'm saying? That was the generator of the system. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But just meeting people in the secular industry really got the name out with manager, and Furman was the manager at the time frame, and it just blossomed since. So I mean, from there and now, I look at it where now it's like, when you look at it, when God calls you to something, you got to do it.
Right. Most definitely.
That's one of the things that's one of the things I followed, is that when God gives you a gift, you got to work that gift.
Yeah.
And so that was like one of the things that kind of got me into the music.
Man, that's awesome. Nice. I know you've been very consistent fitting through the years. I know, big shout out to David, True Seeker, Ty Cross, Reason. I know a lot, Boy Gospel, and I know a lot of them guys are still there. And I know some guys have branched out. I know Reason, he's in the state of Texas. He's actually in the same city that I'm in.
Okay.
I talk to him every now and then. I talk to Tadri almost every now and then on the phone. But it's always, David as well. But just how you uprooted. And like I said, I know you've been doing it in Mobile, and you decided to uproot and move to Tennessee.
Yes.
Why Tennessee? What was so special by Tennessee that say, you know what, I need to come here?
Yeah. Great question. Sometimes you're tired of seeing the same old people, same old rounds, same old things. And that's when things start to turn. I was on my last leg. I was actually on the last leg of things, and I just got tired. Mobile wasn't in anymore. And I prayed. I prayed on my knees. I said, God, I need somewhere. I need to go. I need somewhere that I need to blossom into. And one day, out the blue, I called a friend of mine in Nashville, Tennessee, and he was looking for a general manager for his record label here, and record label in Nashville. And he said, why don't you just move here? And at first, I was scared to move. I was like, nah, I don't really want to do it. But God said, go. So I would say like that Christmas day, or no, the day before Christmas Day, I left. Nobody even know I left. My mom didn't know I left. I got on the Greyhound bus. I called my cousin. I say, listen, I need you to take me to the Greyhound station. And the guy that I used to talk with at the time from, he paid for my ticket to go to Nashville. And while I was going, I traveled early in the morning. I left early. I got me an early bus and I went. And while I was going, I didn't, only thing I had was in my hand was I had a suitcase and no money. I had clothing and no money. And you know how when you're moving from a state, or another state, you really, really don't know anyone. It's
Right.
just,
That's true.
you know what I'm saying? It's just you in a box, and it's like, God, okay, I'm going to trust you with this. But it got challenging, you know what I'm saying? It got really, really, really challenging as I got into Nashville, because my mind frame wasn't right. Okay, if I'm making sense with that, my mind wasn't right, because a lot of times we as people, we have these double-minded of things, and
Right.
when
Right.
double-minded, you don't, you go from one end to the next. And God was telling me, he said, when are you going to get my attention? When are you going to get my attention? And I didn't notice at the time frame, because I was dealing with so many things relationship wise, going back to something that I wasn't supposed to go to, you know what I'm saying? So I was at a breaking point in my life, and I was like, you know what? I said, okay, God, I'll do it your way. But I kept going, I kept going. But in the back of my mind, I was like, something saying, go back, go back, go back, go back. But the more I reached out, the more I took the leap of faith in, the more I got comfortable in. Sometimes we get comfortable in certain areas where we just want to just give up. You
Right.
know, we want to go back. But one of the things I admire is that a friend of mine, while I was in Nashville, I was saying to him, I said, I need to find a church. I need to find me a good church, a good grounded church that I'm going to be very, very consistent in, that I'm going to grow in. And so when they took me to this church, I really, really got attached to this church. And I was, of course, I was still out there, still doing what I was doing, let's be honest. Still I was doing, but it was like I was, in the I was still in the world and still going to church.
Yeah.
And when you're doing it, it's like vinegar and oil just don't mix. Okay.
Right.
But I was still dealing with I was still dealing with the relationship. And so I was saying to myself is that uh I was saying to myself that, God was saying, God, he said, I'm setting you up for something that's greater. It's up to you if you want it. Now, I kid you not, I was looking for, and I'm gonna tell you like this. I was looking for love in the wrong places. I mean, let's make that clear. Looking for love in the wrong places, but it got me in trouble. It got me real in trouble, and I was
Right.
to the point. It's like, maybe I need to go back to Mobile. God said no. He said, why would you go back to Mobile? And I delivered you from that. So the thing is that when the person had came along, and I'm so glad that we are married today. I met my wife, and then the funny thing about it is that I met my wife through uh, Facebook dating app at the time frame.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I've met my wife through Facebook dating app, and
Yeah, God uses anything.
right. So I was looking, and I was like, God, I said, God, I'm tired of. I just want someone that's going to accept me of who I am. And the more I got to search, the more God said, "Uh-oh, that's her right there." Didn't even know it. And we came from the same. We actually, you know what? We came from the same street. Came
Okay.
from the same street. But the thing about it is that I was still dealing with something in the back of my head. I was still dealing with it. And
Right.
God said, how long are you going to deal with this? He said, I'm putting things in your way, but you just come. He said, the more you put things in your way, the more you're ignoring me. So it was like,
Yeah.
like, how can I do this? How can I really, really do this? But the thing was that I was at a point where I was actually in your area years ago in Dallas, Texas. Okay.
Okay.
I was there, but God said, why are you here? He said, I already delivered you from that person. Why are you still here? And why would you turn away from something that I already blessed you with? So God told me, God said, if you don't go back, something's going to happen. So I went back, okay, and we were in the relationship, and I was saying to myself, like, why did I get myself into this? But God said, give me your all. And when I went to church that Sunday, we talked. The person that I was talking with, we talked, and then on top of that, I went on the road the next day. Went on the road the next day with Eddie James Ministry and being his road manager. And I loved it, but God said there's more, there's more. So when I came, when the pandemic had was happening in Miami, Florida, I was saying, I was like, I have nowhere to go. Nashville, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, but the thing about it is that the thing about I love about my wife is that my wife took me back in. She took me in. And I said, I don't want to go out of Alabama. I want to just stay here. So what she did is that she actually in the moving process, she told me, she said, why don't you just stay here with me and we just build life here? And ever since then, God began to clean me up. God began to really into my heart, and now it's like, and to form up a business. So it's like, going from that thing to that extreme, Carmen, to now, you know what I'm saying? And then the consistency is so key.
Oh man, that was a nasty one to time in.
So was your girlfriend was a Christian too, right? Believer?
Well, actually, she wasn't. She wasn't at the time frame.
So you both started looking for God together.
Yes, right.
Okay.
Right. So we started together. Was dealing with we both were dealing with things. You know what I'm saying? I'm just being, just being honest and real.
Yeah.
And transparent, is that we both were dealing with things. And I said, honey, we have to get this. We got to get this together. We got to get it together. And there are times, and then to be honest with you, there are times that, I thought that I was doing the right thing and I wasn't. Let's just be honest. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't, because I stepped out. Being a man as I am, I stepped out. And I thought I was going to lose her. I really, really did. But God told me, he said, forgive yourself and I'll forgive you. So what happened is that she turned around and she forgave everything that was going on. She said, we're going to start from ground up. Right. And ever since then, she has been the light. She has been the world in my light. And she's been a difference in my light, forming up the business, forming up the company, just, and having mentors in my life, and now, watching everything unfold itself. Now I know what love is all about. Now I know what life is all about, because, what I'm saying, you have to treat life like you're treating yourself.
Right, most definitely. And I know you said, finding yourself, you're dealing with things. I know a lot of times as people, we deal with a lot of things. What I'm saying? We can portray one thing, but behind closed doors, we are dealing with a whole complete different monster.
Different monster.
Yeah.
What I'm saying? Because of issues. I know when the time now that people are addressing childhood trauma, guys, women, you name it, dealt with something in some form of fashion. And I say this all the time, D-Rock. I don't want to bring an innocent bystander in my midst. Does that make sense?
It makes sense, yeah. Absolutely.
Because they don't deserve the bleeding. I want to say the bleeding the bleeding, because
you bleed on other people while you're broken.
Yes, yeah. And I think that's what, that's what that's what I was going through. I mean, I was bleeding. I was spiritually, physically bleeding, and I was trying to define myself, but I was defining myself in wrong places. And I think a lot of times when we as people, we're looking at, we're driving ourselves to wrong places. Right. Or as I can put, or perhaps I would say that we're bringing people in that don't need to be in our spot.
Yep.
That's the connection there. The connection is that you have to watch your connection. You have to watch who you surround yourself with. And the biggest thing you got to watch your space. Watch your space of who you contact with, who you connect with, who you vibe with, because you never know, that person right there, maybe that one jealous type person, and turn it all the way around. And that's what happened. That's what happened to me. A lot of people that were so jealous. They were so jealous of me. I didn't understand why, but I had, but it's you got, and then the thing about it is that you got to understand your why. You got to understand who you are and whose you are. You got to understand. You got to understand what can you become and how far you can go up. But my mentor always says, and he said there are levels to go up. Now you have friends that on now it's like this. You're on elevators now, Furman. You're on elevators. You have friends along the way, but you're trying to get you're trying to get to your presidential suite. A lot of people are trying to a lot of people, Furman, are trying to go to your presidential suite, and they can't go to that presidential suite. Is because is that levels. They get off the first level, second level, third level, and now you're trying to go. Now you're trying to go to the presidential suite. You can't go to the presidential suite because why? Because God did not call you to go to the presidential suite with Him.
Right.
And so you have to understand. You have to understand your why. You got to understand who God is in your life. You got to understand that, because I didn't understand that. Now I know. Now you know what I'm saying. Being 37 now, I didn't understand it back then in my 20s. Or in going into my early 30s. But now I know what God is. I know what God is doing. I know He's the head honcho of my life. He's the head honcho of my family's life. He's the head honcho of my business. So what you have to do is that you have to learn, and you have to learn where are you going to put God at? Because God said, I'm the last and the final. So what it is that you got to put Him first, not second, no third. You got to put Him first. So I think from it is that a lot of people don't understand where to put God at, because you put God before men.
Right. And I know you mentioned earlier, looking for love. And I know a lot of times we all been there before, where we look for love in the wrong places. We look for love where it may be in another human being. We look for maybe in materialistic things. You got some people who go out and drink, do drugs, get high, have sex. They'll just keep it real. Let's be honest on the show. But they always trying to find that void to fill. And we know only Christ can fill that void that we've been searching for so long. And I know you mentioned that how you and your wife, y'all talked about things. How was that at that time? I know a lot of times, and let's be real, I think this is a deliverance episode, because I feel it in my spirit. But just how you and your wife came to grips on life, the things that you and your wife could find into each other. How was at that time, D-Rob, open up to your wife about the things you deal with? Because I know as men, we deal with things.
Yes.
We have that, what's that say? That peculiar mindset. Is that right? The peculiar mindset, like that.
Right.
What's that word that people use all the time? Is peculiar.
Peculiar.
Curious.
Curious.
Yeah. But then what grips did you and your wife? 'Cause I know a lot of times having these conversations can be very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because you're becoming open now. And the Bible said that Adam and Eve were naked and they was not ashamed.
Yes.
So when you know that you and your wife had to come naked before each other and not being ashamed, what was that point where, you know what, we need to put everything out on the table. We need to talk about these things. Because I know the scripture said, confess your faults one to another and then pray. They may be healed. So what was that time? What was the time frame where, you know what, we need to go ahead and address these things and bring forth healing?
Yeah. Great question. There come a time where I had to just be honest and open, and I was saying like, "Hey, honey, I'm bleeding, I'm hurting. I don't know. I want to make sure that I want to make sure that I'm being the husband to you. I want to make sure that I'm being the fiance." Back in the time, he's like being the fiance that what I need to be to you.
Right.
I was saying to her maybe years ago is that I said, honey, honey, if I'm not the person for you, let me know. If I'm not that type of guy for you, let me know. But one thing for sure is that we had an honest conversation. And what she told me is that she said, "Honey, be you and only you, because nobody else can take your place but you." And to and to say that, hey, I said, I said I'm battling with hurt, I'm battling with guilt, I'm battling with um things that I should have let go a long time ago, trauma, but I held it all in. I held it all in from it. I was at a place where I didn't want to tell her nothing. I just didn't, but she saw it. She saw
Yeah.
it. And so it's like when you're being honest with someone, and when you're being very, very transparent with someone, that lets them know that, hey, that he was hurting. You didn't I didn't know that he was hurting, but now that now you told me this, now I know what to say and what not to say. And that's when it comes down to boundaries. You have to have boundaries. Boundaries of people, boundaries of, if you, and to be honest with you, I got kids too. Okay. I got kids from other relationships, but there comes a boundary with that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if you can't, if you can't be transparent with my wife, then why I need to be transparent with you?
Yeah. I agree.
You know what I'm saying? Because
I
it's like,
agree.
it has to be a 50-50 thing. But if you chose saying I'm not going to be involved in their lives, then that's you. That's your choice. But what my plan is that I want to continue to love my kids no matter what. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying? But you have to have the boundaries. And when it comes down to having those boundaries, when you are married to that person, that you got to respect you got to respect their spouse. A lot of people don't respect their spouse.
Mhm.
It's because of you don't have the boundaries. These are boundaries.
Hmm.
I can talk to you at a certain level. I can talk to you at a certain extent. But when it comes down to a boundary and a gate, you just can't cross it. So I think grow, get into into that area of being honest. I think that's one of the things that I had to do for my own, is that I had to grow maturity.
Yeah.
Maturity. You know what I'm saying? Because
Right.
like, we as men, we do some dumb stuff. Hello. I'm one of them, okay? Do some crazy stuff, but women, on the other hand, they see what's around the corner. They already know what's going on around the corner. They can tell when you're lying. They can tell you know what I'm saying. They can tell you when you're hiding something. They can tell you like, oh, how did you eat today? Oh, they can tell you all that. But we have that gate. We have this gate up. We got this wall up. You know what I'm saying? So I had to learn. I had to learn how to remove all that. That's when we got married. You know what I'm saying? I thought that I was bringing this person back into the picture. Well, it turned out to be not so well, because because wanted to take over a takeover spirit. So it's like, okay, and the thing about it is that one thing for sure is that my wife understood she, and like I'll say, like, when understanding that when a woman gets a certain and I would say like this, Nancy, you already know what I'm about to say with this, is that when you let certain people in, they know signals. There are some signals goes up in the air that you don't need to be with. And when my wife told me, she said, Damon, I don't understand why you let
Why
her,
you keep why you keep hanging out with this girl?
yeah, why you let this person back in your circle? And she said, if you don't let that go, it's gonna blow up. So what I had to do was is that I had to remove myself from the situation and say, listen, I don't think this is not going to work. And so that's what, I'm saying, Furman, is that being honest and being openly. So you have to have those boundaries when it comes down to music and being a family man. So I think that's one of the things that I'm definitely understanding right now.
And that's what it's all about, Damon, as we talk. Being open, being transparent, especially when it comes to the person you decide to spend the rest of your life with.
Hmm.
That's the person that's going to ride with you till the wheels fall off. And
Yes.
we have to be honest with each other. And Nancy, I'm gonna ask you that. Do it feel now where men are open up to the ladies now? They're talking about things they dealt with in their childhood, things they indulge in, things they had questions about. You gotta realize you had some kids, some guys who was molested, either by another woman or by another man, where they'll start questioning their sexuality, is I'm gay or what, and they go to that stage. But our more men now point out to look. I see a lot of ladies are getting a lot of this stuff from the men that went that they guys are opening up to them now. What do you say about that?
Um, I think that when you're transparent and you guys have an open communication with each other, as you like in the dating process, when you guys are at that stage where you can communicate and can, open up and be vulnerable, because a lot of men aren't vulnerable. They won't open up or let you know what they're dealing with until God comes in, and then they're comfortable sharing. But like most of the time, men don't share their vulnerabilities with women.
Yeah, and that comes from that pride. 'Cause I'm looking at in Genesis chapter 2, verse 25. We just talking about not as long ago. And they were talking about, therefore shall man leave his father and his mother, verse 24. Therefore shall man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife until she be one flesh. And they were both naked. The man and his wife were not ashamed. Naked, you're open. And that's how God tend us to be when we are in these relationships with our significant other, that we supposed to be naked and not ashamed. And that's what a lot of times when people walk with guilt and they walk with shame. They hold that wall up. And I think a lot of that comes from a betrayal, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Because they could find someone and this person got so angry and just threw it right back in their face. Or they went and told other people what this person could find in me. And so now it's to a point like, okay, I can't trust this person now. So I got to keep this wall up because I'm afraid that if I go and tell what I'm dealing with, the bleeding issue, that this person might go tell. So now we having trust issues now, right? So now you deal with the trust issue. So now we got to get past that. So how do we get past that? How do we start building up trust when it comes to the person that we want to the person that we spend the rest of our life with? Because I believe that we all should be open. The Bible tells us they was naked and unashamed. But we know that accuser comes around, that old devil comes around. Oh, I want to tell her that. They gonna judge you.
Right.
She gonna leave you. You don't let then you fall into that snare where like, okay, now I gotta keep my mouth closed. But then we're doing more hurt than we're doing more harm now to the person that we're with. Y'all want to chime in on that one?
Yeah, I would say this. As you go back and say that, of course, when Adam and Eve were in the garden, of course, they were naked and they were not ashamed. But when you look at reality now, is that we want to hide things now. We want to cover up now because it's all, I don't want to look at my scar, this and this and this, you know what I'm saying? But listen, I'm gonna tell you guys something, is that I was molested, okay? And I'm just gonna be honest with you. I was molested at the age of 14. At the age of 14, I was molested by a guy. And it really, really turned my life way upside down. I didn't know how to function. I didn't know how to go about it. I didn't know how to, because I was just a young boy. I was just a young dude at the time frame, you know what I'm saying? And I was, at a place where, just doing my doing my homework, and the guy, like whatever. And so like the counselors at my school noticed it, and I was acting out. But a lot of times, like I was saying, is that I put on the robe.
Yeah.
I put on the robe. I said, "Oh yeah, everything's all good and gravy." But deep down in my heart, I was crying. I was livid crying. Now it's like because, and I was telling my mom this. I was like, "Mom, how do I forgive that person? How do I do that?" She told me up front. She said, baby, you have to forgive him.
And
Forgive
it's not for you. I mean,
him.
it's not for them. It's
Right.
more for you,
It's more for you
for
because
your healing.
for your healing. Because while I was going through that healing, I had to say, God, please forgive me, forgive him for not what he does. But God, clean my heart. Whatever you got to do to him, clean it up. And when I got into court, that I was in that court, that's when things start to rattle up again. And I didn't know how to do it. But God said, follow my lead. And when I got there, when I got to the courtroom and I was telling the judge what happened, I felt like a smooth sailor going out the courtroom. I did not look at him not one time. But the thing about it is that it happened. And every time it's like when you know, we went to another well, I said we went to a gathering and this person all of a sudden again, not once but twice. Okay. Um, but it's one of those things is that you have to understand is that I went around this for a couple years, and I didn't even tell Furman about this because I was doing my thing and singing and stuff, but Furman just like nah, something ain't right with Damon, something ain't right. But I had to literally had to cover it up. So now it's like I say, there were time that they gave him time and things like that, and they told him that he cannot be in like 1,000 feet. He can be away. He can be like inches away from me. So now is that when I looked at him maybe years ago when I was in Mobile, the guy came. I'm like, I didn't know who he was. He said, "Do you remember me?" No, I don't know you. He said, I just want to let you know that I'm sorry. Okay. I forgive you. And I kept moving because why? I know that God said, you forgive him. Watch what I do. And when I came back to Nashville, things start to take place. So I'm learning, when I'm learning how to, I've been healed from that for some years now. And now like I have to, when I'm being in with circles, my circles is very, very small because you have to check them before you let them in.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that's tough. Like I said, I didn't know you went through that in that stage in your life. And I can just imagine how tough that can be for you, getting caught up in that situation happened to you. But then, you said you cover it up. And I know that could be tough to open up and say, hey, I was sexually, let's keep it real here. We are adults, that I was sexually assaulted by another man. What did, when did you open up? Did you ever confide in your mom this about this, or what was going through your mind at the time? 'Cause that's tough to deal with that
Yeah.
this other human being would do this heinous act to me.
Yeah, yeah. I actually I opened up to my godfather first, and then I told my mom about it the second time around because I wasn't comfortable of telling her because I know how and we know, Nancy, we know how our mothers are affirming, you know how our mothers
Right.
are when it comes down to their child. But
Mm-hmm.
I had to find some type of safe spot to tell him. And then he came over. I will never forget. He came over, and I actually had a talk with my mom, and my mom was very very upset, and she was like, "Well, Damon, why didn't you tell me this? I didn't know how to tell you because I didn't want you to be, you know, I didn't want you to be like, all upset or anything like that." She said, no, that's not upset. That's called concerning because
Mm-hmm.
and she did exact what she said, and um she handled that situation. And I'll say like a couple days later, I was back in school, and my self-esteem was still down, but I was still grieving with that. So yeah.
Yeah. Nancy, you want to time in?
A lot of times, there's a lot of people don't get to tell their family members. I know that a lot of times it's kept like under the rug, swept under the rug. People don't open up or tell them. Years later, they find out because it's like something you don't talk about.
Right.
Looking now at recently how Krishan, there's this whole lot of spotlight on her because she was able to speak about it on the Bad Girls Club, right? But at least she's getting the topic, they're talking about it and bringing it to the light. God is using her to expose these things so that people can talk about it and be able to relate with her, for the glory of God. So I think it's a good thing that we talk about it because it's always swept under the rug.
It is, and it I expect like with women. I know when no Nancy, y'all women, y'all can open up about everything and just be open when it comes to a guy. And a guy,
Yeah,
he said
guys
he's been
guys are different. They don't want to talk about it. They don't bring it to the front light. They don't even want to tell the people, they're with about
yeah.
it, that until they're comfortable or have been delivered and can talk about it.
Right, and I think that comes from the judgment too, where guys are already judging themselves
Hmm.
already off the bat. Or if I tell her, oh, she gonna look at me different. Or I tell her she's not gonna want me. Or if I tell her she gonna say these type of things, I was already breaking that judgment. But I know that's very tough for guys that have went through that, experienced that. That's very tough. But it takes God to really come and touch your heart to say, you know what, I can open up this thing and open out this thing, and then when you finally open up, I know you say you know your mom and your godfather, whatever. Did you ever had these conversations with your wife? Let her know what you went through and experienced.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had that talk. We had that moment, and she understood. She definitely understands, and you know, I can talk to my wife about anything because
That's good.
number one, she's my wife, but we're best friends.
Right.
But I can go to her and I can tell her about how I felt about it, and it's safe to have those. It's like a safe environment for me to talk to her about that. And I think that one of the things is that what I learned is that when you learn how to be open to your spouse will begin to open up to you. And that's one of the things I've learned throughout the years since we've been married is that um telling it's like a journal that you're telling your spouse for telling your
Right.
to and expressing yourself to. So one of the things that I've learned is that I learned how to express myself more. I've learned how to talk with her more. I may it may we may I may not understand how everything is, but you know what I'm saying, I'm understanding how life is, you know what I'm saying, as being a married couple, because a lot of times we as of course, wife and husband has problems too. Okay, from this from the solo perspective. Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
we don't want to say anything to our wives because we feel like we're going to get offended or we feel like we're going to get screamed at or something. Like, it's not like that. It's just the fact that I think just learning how to just be open to your spouse and
Mhm.
being more vulnerable and things like that. So I think that really brought us closer to that.
I think for me, when I've been essayed before growing up, and then I struggled with my communication skills because of the secret and not being able to share it and let people know, especially in my family. Like, I've never really talked about it with them or with my mom, but now, like, it's a whole, because I'm an introvert, so for me it's different. Like, my communication, I gotta know you for me to be able to open up to you
Yeah.
and let you know what I've been through and what all that. So I think that for a lot of people that have gone through it, their communication skills have to be you know learned and be able to communicate with the other person, because a lot of times we have that difficulty with communication.
Right. And I know you had mentioned that you was acting out too as well. Do you act? What behavior was you acting out? What behavior was you displaying? Was it to the cry for help? What was it? What called acting out that people were expecting something was going on?
Yeah, yeah. So acting out for me was just going to sleep in class for number one. Not talking to anyone, leaving school a little early because I didn't want to say nothing about it. And I think that that was like my comfort zone right there. You know what I'm saying? I think that was like, um, but I think the most important thing was music for me because I began to write. I began to write. I'll never forget. I think I had a song out, but at the time frame, it's called "You Are More," and I began to write that song. And I think I pitched it to Furman. I said, I need to record this song here. And that song right there was my journal. And that was like, you can actually see what I felt, you know what I'm saying? Because when I wrote the song, I was crying writing that song. And so it was like, so it's like when I wrote the song that I felt I felt comfortable writing stuff like that. So now it's like, I have a journal now that I do write, and I actually write what I feel, and that's and when I write in my journal, my day goes better.
Man, that's awesome. That really is. And I know, like I said, I know you've been doing. You was in the entertainment industry for some years,
Mhm.
and I know you started at Mobile, and
Yes.
you're now in Tennessee, and I know you are a disc jockey as well, which you've been doing that for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, let's talk about the stage. Let's talk about the work you're doing in Tennessee. How long you've been doing the work in Tennessee? So, hey, take us behind the scenes on that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we've been in I've been in Chattanooga for almost like a year and a half in Chattanooga. But I was recently in Nashville for about 4 years. And I originally started DR Global Media Group in 2019. And from there we launched off our entertainment company, and then maybe about a year later, we launched off DR Global Media Radio, and I actually partnered up with a guy out of Knoxville, and at the time frame, I was just looking for a little job at the time frame, just wanted to get back on radio, and that conversation turned into a partnership. So where it came into where I was actually uh, owner of a top 40 station. And we started off with 96.1 Jams at the time frame. It was a hip hop and R&B. I was a program director for there, and also APD for top 40 station in Chattanooga, not Chattanooga, but Knoxville. And from there, it got big. It got real big, and people noticed like, oh, Damon back on the radio, D Rock back on the radio, and I mean, from off the roof, we had tons of people emailing us and saying how they love the radio, how they love the show. And then from there, I switched over to gospel music now. So fast forward now, I'm in Chattanooga now, and now we have launched our Praise 101, Chattanooga's number one for gospel hits. Um,
Okay.
we also program director for Praise 101, also the morning host for Praise 101. And that right there has opened up lot of doors from the emceeing to interviews to concerts to productions. Also we're in the process now of doing some filming now. So that's in the process of next year. So God has been really been so awesome this year, and he begins to open up more doors. So the consistency from it is so important. And to see where I am right now, I wasn't even there back then in Mobile, but now I know what it's all about.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about. Because no, God did not make us to be a waste, and you
Mhm.
know that. He made man his image after his likeness. Of course, he said that we're the apple of his eye. He
Mm-hmm.
said, "You're the head and not the tail, above and not beneath. Blessed going in, blessed going out." He lets us know that we're more than conquerors. These are things he bestowed upon us. He lets us know that he made us be kings and priests unto him. We
Right.
are a royal priesthood.
Mhm.
What I'm saying? We are the light of this world. And these are the things he bestowed upon us. And these are things we have to believe for ourselves, what he says in his word. And I know we got that old accuser, who he is, will
Mm-hmm.
always try to come and bring up your past and will try to
Right.
bring up things against
Mhm.
you.
Yeah.
We know the Bible tells us cast out all imagination to try to exalt itself. And we know that those things come up and we got to cast those imaginations down
Yes. Yes.
as
Yes.
well also. And I know, like I said, you're doing great work at the radio station. How often is you doing a radio show? Where
Yeah.
can people get the show at? And also to gospel music artists, how can they go? Did we have some listen to us tonight? If we have some listen to us tonight, how
Yeah.
can they go about having their music submitted onto the program?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so they can, you can actually, you guys can check me out. You guys can check me out Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're Central Time, that's 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Also for all my all artists, if you want to submit your music, you can email us. You can email us at praise101 Chattanooga at gmail.com. You can email your music over there. Make sure it is coded, radio edit, and also send over an EPK. You can also check out our website. Our website is up and running. We are on. Check out the website. It's praise101 Chattanooga.com. You can also download the Odyssey app and search for Praise 101, Chattanooga's #1 for gospel hits. And also Live 365. You can go over to Live 365 to hear our station over there too as well, which is Praise 101, Chattanooga's #1 for gospel hits. And I'm also on a board. I'm COO of a gospel award show awards that's going to be happening in 2025 in Birmingham, which is called the Gospel Sounds Music Awards. So yeah, so
Okay.
a lot of things are going on, a lot of things are cooking.
And we know what, just keep up the great work,
Thank you.
of course, and as well like that. So I know everybody ready to get off this air because almost to 8 o'clock. There was a dance at 9 o'clock, but here 8
Yes,
o'clock.
yes.
D Rock, go ahead and plug in all your social media information. How can people plug in and also keep up with you with the latest news that's going on within your ministry and also in the Tennessee area?
Yes. So you can actually hit me up on Facebook. You can catch me on Facebook at Damon Richie. On Facebook, you can follow me at DJ D Rock on Facebook as well. Instagram is Damon DAMON _ Richie the number 34. Also you can catch me on TikTok. TikTok, you can go to TikTok as well and search for Damon Richie. And also you can go over to let's see, I think I got one more thing. Twitter. I really don't do Twitter as much like that, but yeah, you can catch me over there too as well. And if you want to, feel free if you want to know any questions or try to get in contact with us. Our contact number is area code 615-639-2101. And we would love to hear from you. And our business hours are from Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Man, awesome stuff, man. Like I said, much love to you, my brother. Keep up the great work. Thank you for sharing your story, because I know that some people need to hear your story.
Yes.
That hey, he's sharing his story. I can share my story as well, and don't have to be ashamed or what nobody say or
Yeah.
think,
Yeah.
because we know that at the end of the day, it's all about God. He does the delivering, and most importantly, you forgave that individual who did that act to you, and you forgave him. And like
Yes.
like Nancy said, it was not for him; it was for you, because what the Bible tells us,
Mhm.
if we don't forgive their trespasses, we know God won't forgive our trespasses.
Right.
So that's very important. So I appreciate you
Yeah.
keeping the great work as well. Much love to your family, your
Yes.
wife, and all the other great stuff. So keep with the great work. We gotta get you back on here again soon. So
Yeah,
we appreciate
absolutely,
you.
absolutely. And of course, of course, my son Zane, he's 2 years old. That's our first baby.
Okay.
together here for in marriage, and he's everything. Of course, other kids I do have, but Zane is definitely that person, man. But shouts out to all of my children that I do have, and I love them I love each and every last one of them. So yeah.
Man, that's what's up right there, man. Keep it the great work. I think somehow that Nancy logged out because she normally does the salvation before you get ready to leave. But I hope she's too back in. Before we go, we're gonna do a quick commercial break
Yeah.
and then we'll be right back after this commercial break.
Oh, ooh, you said you love me. Now I know what love is. Ain't nobody stop your love. Stop your love. 'Cause you know me. All my hopes, all my fears, but still you chose me. I'm in love. Now I don't know what you've been told, but all I know is that his love is worth more than gold. See, it took a while for me to understand, but a love like this isn't high demand. You know my flaws, but yet you still love me. Now I know what love is. Ain't nobody stop your love. Stop your love. 'Cause you know me. All my hopes and all my fears, still you chose me. I'm in love. I'm in love. You turn your back on him, he's still on your side. Always keep it real with you, and that's no lie. Won't give up the fight, I know I'ma survive. Now I got God on my side, God on my side. I was down and he got me up. On the ground, no faith, I thought I was stuck. Now the devil see us winning and we got him shook. You know it's our season, we gon' run it up. Gotta love my sister and love my brother. Cause in this word, it teaches us we gotta love each other. Really absurd if we can't look beyond each other's colors. We should prefer to show love for one another. We need to come together. Now I know what love is. Nobody stop your love. Stop your love. You know me. All my hope and all my fears. You chose me. I'm in love. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm in love. So in love. I'm in love. So in love with you, with you, with you, with you, with you. I'm in love with you, with you, with you, with you, with you. Oh.
Hey, what's up, everybody? We're back here on the Walking This Way's Impact Force podcast. We're broadcasting out of DFW, Dallas Fort Worth, Tippage Park area. I'm your host, Furman Jackson Jr., along with my lovely co-host out of Miami, Florida, the Kingdom Chick herself, Nancy C., along with our guest, Damon Richie in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and
Yes.
with his prince as well, timing in with us. So, man, we appreciate you again.
Yeah, this is Zane. This is my 2-year-old, and so glad to have him. He's been a pride and joy. He's we call him the miracle baby, but Zane's got some talent too, and he's got all types of stuff. He sings around the house. What else do you do? You do God? Yes. Huh?
Bishop.
Oh, Bishop Walker. Yeah, so he loves Bishop Walker from Nashville. So, yeah,
Man.
This is my son right here. This is my son Zane. So
Okay.
she's on the other side, but
Okay, that's what's up, man. Salute to you and your family. I said, nobody gonna lead this thing, so Nancy, go ahead and lead us out with the call of salvation. And of course, me and you next. We'll be back here Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Central, 12 p.m. Eastern. So go ahead and lead us out.
Amen. Romans 10:9 says, if you believe with your heart and confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord, you shall be saved. So right now, just say, Dear Lord Jesus, I admit that I'm a sinner in need of your forgiveness. Please come into my heart. Fill me with your Holy Spirit. I believe that I accept and believe that you are my Lord and my Savior. Fill me with your Holy Spirit in this day forward. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen and amen again. Believe. That's all you got to do. Grow, evolve, and that's what's out this thing. Like I said, man, we're out this thing. Me and Nance will be back here Saturday morning with our Sabbath edition. Of course, I said it again. Our Sabbath edition of the Walking This Way Impact Boys podcast. We got a very special guest that's going to be joining us. We're going to be getting into the book of Joshua on Saturday. So I'm looking forward to that as we talk about Joshua. So I'm looking forward to that on Saturday morning alone, I guess. So we're going to have a good time on Saturday when it comes to the word. You know, it's all about the kingdom. Matthew 6:33 tells us this: seek ye first the kingdom and God of all his righteousness, and everything else gonna be added. So that's seek first the kingdom. Don't seek man, don't seek woman, don't seek other things, but seek first the kingdom. Everything we need is in the kingdom. The peace, the joy, the happiness, the finance, everything you need is gonna be added unto you. Long you seeking first the kingdom of God and his righteousness.
Absolutely. I'll say this too, that
Go ahead.
that somebody that that maybe somebody that's watching, they may be at a crossroad. But I just wanted to let you know that God is still able. He's still able to get you where you need to go, because what I feel is that I know my thank you. That my God told me to tell someone today is that you're not alone in this thing by yourself. Don't let nothing don't let you get you down for nothing, because why? 2025 is going to be the best year ever. So just put that in your spirit today and say, the best is yet to come. So tell yourself today that the best is yet to come. Ain't that right?
Amen.
Yeah, that's it. So, like I said, we out this thing. Be blessed, everybody. Peace.
See y'all.